This is the EVP Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the EVP Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Beaker.
And I am one of your hosts, Ghosty.
Yep, that's us. So last week, we'll just dive right in.
Let's dive in.
Last
Head
week,
first.
Yes. We talked about the good old Skinwalker. And
Our old pal, long-time listener.
Yep, long-time listener, first-time caller. And we talked about how they're kind of regional, right?
How the Skinwalkers is native to the Navajo Nation area. That was, a cryptid that kind of belongs to them. But there are other Skinwalker type cryptids, shapeshifters that are similar, have different powers, but across the different native tribes.
So this week we're going to talk about another kind of like mythological creature, possibly mythological. I did make a phone call to see if a certain somebody has seen or encountered one, and they have done research on them, but they have not encountered one. Apparently they're extremely rare if you actually encounter one. Again, these are going to be these North American soul eaters are going to be like region specific to, I believe, the reservations, like the different tribes or nations.
Soul eaters. If you haven't caught on, that's what we're talking about.
Soul eaters. Did I not say that?
No, you did not.
Oh, soul eaters. Yeah, we're talking about soul eaters.
You're leading up to it, and then you just kind of casually said it.
Yeah.
So anyways, soul eaters.
Soul eaters. Now here's an interesting thing is it's much like the Skinwalker, how there's different variations of like shapeshifters across the world. But Skinwalker is specific to the Navajo people. Soul eaters, not so much. They're different everywhere you go. Like, for example, the most prominent one, or I guess I want to say the more popular one that people know about, actually originated in Nigeria.
Okay.
And they've, the stories have come over to the Americas. They've also been talked about in like Greek mythology. Mm-hmm. In some cases, a soul eater is actually like a person that can shift between the two planes.
I was reading something about shaman that can, I don't know. I've seen a couple other things, and then I was reading about this one episode of the X-Files. Kind of threw me off. I guess there was an episode of the X-Files on it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but that did pop up on
I'm pretty sure I watched it back in the day. I just don't remember shit. I've just watched a bunch of those episodes. I wanted to go back and watch a bunch of those X-Files shows. I bet you there were some good ones.
Probably, except for the one that you can't find anymore because it was so controversial. I believe they're on Hulu, to be honest with you. You'd have to look. But the thing is, like I said, some cultures, it's like a person, like a witch, or I don't know another word for it. A witch. It's like a witch, but it's like someone that can like shift between the two planes, between the living and the dead, and they do exactly kind of what the name implies. They eat the souls of people. Yeah,
they had to eat the souls in order for them to keep living.
Well, that's one way of doing it. It's like the soul eaters could be someone that was like their family was born into it. Like it was just something they did where they could eat the soul of another person just because. And that person basically would vanish into dust and their soul would cease to exist. There are some other areas in the world where they believed a soul eater is someone that was like cursed by a witch and that they had to eat the souls of the living people in order to continue existing themselves.
Right. Yeah.
When you get into, I believe, Greek mythology and Native American history, a soul eater is more of a spiritual being.
Yeah, that's the way that the Navajo, the same guy that we were watching the week before.
Sean Clyn.
Yeah.
Sean Clyn Productions on YouTube. This is where we're getting some of our information from. All the information we talk about Native American soul eaters. But he's got so many like good videos on like the proper way to smudge and like things of the paranormal. Go check out his YouTube. But Yeah, he talked about in the Native American culture, they are a spiritual being.
The way he was describing it was almost like a shadow person.
Right.
That's kind of what I was imagining. The way he was talking about it was, I was like just picturing some of the shadow people that I've seen, and I'm like, that was that a soul eater?
Yes. And soul eaters can be tricky. From what I was told by Brandy when I talked to her about it, she's done some research, and she said soul eaters can be very tricky, kind of like skinwalkers. Where in the fact that a soul eater can, I guess, potentially be a shapeshifter. So it's possible you might even come across a soul eater and not even know it. Because it could be something like you just said, like a shadow person. Mm-hmm. Well, some of the stuff I thought he said about, or some of the stuff he said about soul eaters, I thought was really interesting. Like there's certain set of rules that soul eaters have to follow. And we've seen this before when it comes to spirits, like both crossed over spirits, earthbound spirits, and then like inhuman entities.
Yeah, and this is this topic is what I wanted to start talking about too. This was very interesting.
So we've talked about like humans or human spirits that have not crossed over, earthbound spirits, don't necessarily have a set of rules.
Right.
They can kind of interact with people whenever they want if they have the energy to do so. Whereas a crossed over spirit, they're not really supposed to interact. They can kind of nudge here and there if you need it. They can check in on you and whatnot, but they're not really supposed to interact or interfere with things because we believe you have your agency and you're allowed to make your choices. And when it comes to like inhuman entities, we've talked about, and if we haven't talked about it, we're going to talk about it now. Where like living people kind of have precedence on this plane of existence on this earth. So for the most part, when you kind of tell a spirit like, hey, you're not welcome in my house, you're not welcome to follow me home or whatever on an investigation, they kind of have to listen to you. But the thing is you also have to like be firm in what you're saying and not be afraid, Mm-hmm. And I think it's similar with the soul eater. He was saying that in their culture, like soul eaters aren't allowed to enter people's homes, especially if like the house has been blessed. He said,
or like if you have a protection, like so somebody has a cross hanging, or I mean, it doesn't have to be religious. It just has to be some type of, your energy that you had put into it, saying that this is for protection.
Yeah, you've like basically bound your space. He said in some of their houses they would have like arrows above the door.
Right, arrows above the door for them. In Christian homes, most likely they would have pictures of Jesus or a cross or something.
So basically, you've claimed your space, and so the soul eaters aren't allowed in. But in the Native American culture, the soul eater, like I said, it does exactly that. It can eat your soul. It can absorb your energy and make you a part of it. It can harvest your soul. And he was saying they mainly go after like lost souls. And the way he described a lost soul, and I like his analogy here, and so I'm going to use it as well. But if you watch the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, where you kind of have those, like when they die and like the light shows up, or when they die and like those little shadow monsters,
and they're all
pop
like
up.
Creepy, making noise, and just I don't know if they're making noise or the music gets all high pitched, all creepy. Sure. But either way, it's like they're waiting for you. If you don't go into the light, they're going to come get you.
Yes. And he said it's people that the lost souls are more likely to be people that have like died suddenly or unexpectedly. He was saying like your ancestors, and I believe this as well in like Christian religions and paganism. You have your family members, your loved ones that are kind of looking out for you. And when you do pass away, I'm sure they're there on the other side of the light or the tunnel or whatever it is that's on when you pass away. There's most likely someone there that to help guide you to the other side.
And then the way they depicted on Ghost at the end, do you remember when the one guy who was doing all the bullshit and it was all his fault for everything?
Yeah.
The moment he dies, it's like he doesn't even get a chance to the light.
Wasn't there.
It's just he gets taken straight to hell.
Yes. So the soul eaters are kind of looking for those lost souls, those people that have died suddenly and they don't have someone there to check in on them and make sure they're taken to the proper place in the next step of the journey.
And for me, I kind of think that these soul eaters are kind of, it's belief specific. I don't know. Like if you believe in that and that's your beliefs, you might have that type of a situation, when you die.
Right.
For you and I don't think that we would encounter such soul eaters.
Probably not. See, the reason why I was like listening to his video, and it's what got me a little concerned, which is why I called Randy. One of the things he said is like we just mentioned soul eaters aren't allowed in like people's homes, right? Mm-hmm. So there could be like a human spirit that's been running from a soul eater and takes refuge in your home, right? Mm-hmm. And then he talked about how I've been in homes, I've been on investigations where you have like a normal human spirit, and then you could have like another human spirit or an inhuman spirit that's kind of like controlling and manipulating that spirit. So you come into the person's home because there's activity going on and they want it to stop, right? You do your investigation whenever you start cleansing the home, and you've now kicked this spirit out of the home that's hiding from the soul eater that's outside waiting for it.
That's kind of messed up. Okay. But
so he did warn like being careful when you're cleansing a home. And I guess it makes sense to their culture, but it just kind of got me to thinking of all the times that we've cleansed people's houses. It's like, well, shoot, I didn't even know a soul eater was a thing until like a week ago. I've never looked into it. So I'm just like, how many times did I possibly send a spirit to its doom?
But at the same time, I don't think we've encountered that many native spirits on these investigations of these homes. I'm sure there has been.
I think there's only been like a handful of times that I can think of.
But did they ever, even the ones that you did encounter, seem like they were too scared to leave there? Because I think
no, not really.
But it was a cool way of describing why there might be some spirits stuck in people's homes, of the spirit dying suddenly and then encountering these things, and it's running from them and it runs into a home. The home has the protection in it, and the soul eater can't go inside. So yeah, they are just trapped inside, not wanting to leave. Otherwise, if they do leave, they're going to their doom.
It just sounds like the whole perk storm, because he did mention like Conjuring 2. You had the like way that Valak and Bill Chambers or whatever his name
he was controlling him.
It's not Bill Chambers, that's not his name, but
right, yeah,
the old man in the chair. How like Valak, the inhuman or the demonic entity, was controlling him, and so they're like, say you go in and you're like kicking it out, but let's say Bill was in there hiding from a soul eater outside, and now you've sent Bill to his doom. You basically just removing him from one entity and sending him to another one that's actually gonna make his soul cease to exist.
Yeah.
So my first question to her when
you're
I called
dying
her,
twice. You're dying twice.
So my first question was like, have you ever encountered a soul eater? And she said no, which gave me a big, like,
more of a relief.
Yeah, it gave me some relief, because knowing that, she's never seen one, and I've only done like 2 house cleansings without her there. So if she's never seen one, then I've never sent a spirit outside to their doom.
Most likely, if there was, all those spirits that were hiding from soul eaters have probably, all those buildings are probably long gone by now that they were hiding in.
Probably.
So you didn't do nothing wrong. Don't worry.
No. I mean, I was for a little bit. Because, I mean, we are in Utah, and you do have a couple tribes that lived in this area, specifically like the Ute tribe. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming is the big one, because we have the Uinta Basin, and our college football team is named after the tribe.
Yeah, we have a lot of we had a lot of different tribes here, actually.
So
we did have Navajo as well.
So it just kind of made me think like, well, it's possible that these things could be in the area. And then I started thinking about like, well, maybe it's just something that like people have like conjured up because they believe in it so much and they don't want to talk about it as like taboo. You know what I mean? Like there's like certain demons, like the people that talk about Zozo the demon, like he's not a real thing.
I thought maybe some of the natives might have seen shadow people, and their idea was, oh shit, that's probably they're coming to take somebody's soul. But I mean, because the way they were describing it sounded like a shadow person, and when I seen a shadow person, like they just try to get away,
right?
And but I don't know, it wasn't anything. I don't know, the shadow people. It could be I don't know. That's just my idea that maybe they were just seeing shadow people, and that was just their way that they could wrap their head around what they saw.
Possibly. Now this this gentleman, the Sean Clan, did talk about one that he said he saw, and the way he described it, and he even in his video, he put up a picture of kind of like what he saw.
Right, and this was more of like a vision that he saw. This wasn't something he saw with his eyes. So
the way he saw it, he said it looked like a lion's face, like with the mane and everything, but the face didn't have like fur or anything. It was skin. It was just like it wasn't even skin. It was like a bone, like a skull. And he said the mane itself, like where it would be hair normally, was like human body parts. So like hands, basically made up the arms and hands, made up the mane, and then just like the whole body itself was just like human parts. And what led to him to believe that it was basically like all the souls of people that he had eaten or harvested. This soul eater. And I thought it was interesting. You can see the difference in cultural beliefs because, I'm not giving the same warnings that he did. He's like, make sure you have your sweetgrass, make sure you have this, because this is a very scary subject. And I get it to them.
They don't like talking about it because it could bring those entities out.
It could bring those entities, which is like why a lot of homes that we go into or people that we work with, they don't like talking about demons because they're afraid. They don't like watching those scary movies like The Conjuring because they're afraid it will invite something in. It's like, how many times have you been on like Instagram videos or Reels or TikTok videos and you see the people in the comments that are putting in there like, I don't claim any negative energy from this.
I don't read them.
It's a thing.
Oh boy.
So there's people out there that like, I don't accept any negative energy from this video or whatever. And
they really and they think by posting it's gonna help them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not how it works at all. I mean, just watching a scary movie is not going to invite anything into your home. You inviting something into your home, saying like, "Hey," like people say it's like a gateway. It's not.
Right, and I know sometimes it's been said to like stay away from those type of things if you've been experiencing a lot of negativity, and it's mainly because you will just keep adding to your negative thoughts and stuff.
I've given that advice to people after clearing their homes.
And it's just more of like to clear their head of any negativity and scary stuff. So, yeah, it's not because it's going to bring in demons. Movie demons. You got movie demons now. Sorry, bitch.
So if that cross starts turning upside down, you've got a Hollywood.
You got movie demons, bitch.
Because a real demon, if you do have one of those, will not turn the cross upside down. That's not a thing. But yeah, I was very fascinated by this when we first started talking about it last week. And unfortunately, there's just like, there's not a whole lot out there.
No, there wasn't too much about this one. And then there was another thing that did you watch some of his other videos too?
I haven't had a chance yet, no.
Okay, because he kind of goes on to some other ones as well, but there's also not a lot on those ones either until you get to the our buddy Squatch.
Yeah, he's got a Squatch video.
Yeah, a long-time listener, North American Sasquatch.
First-time caller.
He's been a long-time fan of the show.
Mm-hmm. Well, he is a relative of mine. So
he better have been listening.
He's just showing support.
Have you seen that video that was going around? It was filmed from a train in Colorado of a Squatch.
I have not.
This shit looks realish. It's one of the realest videos I've seen, and it was. And it wasn't a lot of trees. It wasn't a wooded area. It was kind of a hillside with brush and shrubbery and dead grass. And these people are on a train in Colorado and a passenger train, and you can just hear everybody. The video starts, and you just see this big, hairy. It's a dark brown, and he's walking with the long stride and those long arms, and it does not look like a human in a suit at all. Like the proportions are off, and once it realizes the train has people in it and people are looking at it, it just squats down and sits, and it completely disappears. I mean, you can tell where it is because you saw it sit down, but if you had not seen it, and you would have just passed by it and it just blended in with the scenery, like it looked like it was part of the hillside. But had you not seen that thing moving before that, and it looked realistic as shit. Like that one, that was probably one of the most realistic videos other than one of the big documentaries that was on Netflix. But
We should post that on social media so people can see.
Yeah, definitely got to. And I'll show you after we're done recording too. But that was I think it was on Factor, the Paranormal Caught on Camera as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we'll show that one. That was a badass video. But Squatch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Soul Eaters too.
Soul Eaters.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something I wouldn't want to come across.
No, well, it makes me wonder though. Like over at the Ritz, when I saw the reverse shadow person.
Yeah.
It was that a Soul Eater hanging out in Tooele?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Like I was told,
but Tooele had a lot of native. Probably has a lot of native spirits in Tooele.
Yeah, all of Utah.
Well, all of Utah, but I mean,
but just Tooele specifically, not anywhere else.
But Tooele would probably have a lot.
I'm sure everywhere would have a lot in Utah.
No, Soul Eaters got them all already.
Oh, is that the case?
Soul Eaters got most of them.
Damn Soul Eaters.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, Soul Eaters, man.
Yeah, don't mess with them. They'll eat your soul.
So yeah, I don't think that's anything that we would have to worry about ourselves. I
don't
think that's
think
more.
So
Yeah.
I kind of want to lump this into a mythological creature, where as opposed to like a skinwalker, because we've talked to a spirit that claims he was a skinwalker when he was alive, and I put more stock in that, like that actually being a thing.
Yeah.
A soul eater.
Well, I find kind of fault because they say it's a spirit that gets lost, or we would say that was a spirit that doesn't cross over, doesn't go in the light.
Right.
This is saying that if you don't go into the light, if you don't cross over, you're going to get taken by these soul eaters. And
well, you're at risk.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, it's every culture has their belief, right? And the thing is like when it comes to these things, it's not just Native American tribes that believe this. Like there's
what I was going to get
cultures
to.
all over the world.
I remember what I was going to get to with that. Where they were saying if you die abruptly, you have the chance of that. But they would go to war all the time.
Yeah.
And so they would end up dying abruptly in these war battles. So,
but at that point, you're a warrior and you're trained to defend yourself against these things.
Okay.
That's what.
So in death, you still got to fight.
Well, maybe if you have to. If you don't have, I think if you're going into war though, like your ancestors would probably be there watching over you in case you do die.
True.
I think it's more like abruptly, like, hey, you die in a car accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not expecting to die in a car accident. Like if you go to war, you know that there's a possibility of you dying.
Yeah.
And so do your ancestors, your spirit guides, whatever. So there's a good chance that they might be there watching out for you to help you cross over when you do pass away.
Yeah.
In that situation. Like if you're just driving to work, your spirit guides probably aren't hanging out with you, checking on you. Because I know like my guides, I'm sure your guides are the same way. They're not with you 24/7. They're not always watching you. I'm sure when you're sleeping, they're probably piecing out somewhere else.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that.
No.
You've heard that.
I've heard, yeah. You're a monster.
I'm sorry.
I still want to go back into like one of the things that we kind of talked about last week, where we thought maybe it's possible like a skinwalker could be working with a soul eater. I mean, yeah. I think if they are around, if they are a thing, I think it might stand to reason that. I mean, I don't want to speak for the Native American culture because I don't know, but I was thinking about it like if I was a skinwalker. I have this powers, like maybe if I make a deal with this thing, I'll get more powers. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll provide you with souls to eat as long as you leave me alone when I die.
Right? Yeah, I'd be working out deals all the time.
Well, the skinwalkers are evil to begin with. So who's to say they aren't working out deals with stuff like that?
Yeah.
So I think it's possible, very possible that a skinwalker would be making some sort of deal with a soul eater. But I don't know for sure. I don't know the culture.
Yeah, we don't know enough, but we do know. No, I don't know. What do we know?
Wow, apparently we know nothing.
I was thinking of something clever, and it didn't happen. So apparently we don't know shit.
We don't know nothing.
Well, should we wrap that up about the soul eaters then?
Yeah.
Unless there was anything else?
No, I don't really have anything else. So here's a wonderfully short
It can be short. If
It can be. No, it's great because like I love going on YouTube and like seeing these topics, and the videos are like 20 to 30 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we'll fit right in.
Yes, we'll just be like everyone else, like in South Park. One of us, Google gobble. And now I'm just rambling. So go to social medias, check us out, evp.pod at Facebook and Instagram. If you got a story you'd like to share with us about skinwalkers, soul eaters, or whatever, share some EVPs with us. Email us at evp.pod@gmail.com. And then go buy some ghost hunting gear from our affiliate link to Ghost Stop. They've got some cool new stuff. There's a bell I want to buy. It's like an EMF sensor that rings. Ping.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty cool. I do like that one.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Go don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.